Good evening, good afternoon, good morning from whatever time zone you may be in. This is Off the Grid Podcast with Aiden and Jared.
And today, this is part 2 of our gun control podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Last week we gave you the facts about it. We gave you the, stats, we gave you information, we gave you a lot, actually. And it was so big, in fact, that we had to do a part 2, so here we are, like we promised.
Yep, and, really, we were leaving off on where we, ended on the last one, so we're gonna just jump right in, and,
Alright.
And, but before we get started, I wanted to mention that we are available on YouTube. We have our YouTube channel, Off the Grid Podcast, or you just type in Off the Grid, and that'll come up. And we're also available on, Apple Podcasts.
Yep, now we are, because SoundCloud was acted up, we are now available on Apple Podcasts, so you can reach us there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know a lot of Apple users out there, so, you have an iPhone, get after it.
Yeah.
So, alright. So, as I said, this is going to be part 2.
And, yeah, you can, follow us on Twitter and keep updated on what we're up to, and maybe even give us some thoughts on what we should do as a podcast. If there's something that you think we should cover, please do let us know. We'd like to know.
Yep.
Alright, so where did we leave off last time, Aiden?
Very specifically, we left off with the history of the AR-15, but in general, we just talked about how, all these mass shootings, Columbine and everything, because, as we said recently, there was a Parkland, shooting in Parkland, so we discussed that, we discussed, mental illness, we discussed, why the mental illness system is kind of messed up and why, it's not as accurate as some people would, like it to be. We also talked about Virginia Tech and what happened there, and the notion that every mass shooting is done with rifles is absolute crap and that it's absolutely false. Because as we said, that the second deadliest mass shooting in the U.S. was committed with handguns, as we said. We also gave some definitions for guns, like, to reiterate, bump stocks, magazines, all that. And we also, we left off part 1 with, as I said, the history of the AR-15. So now, for part 2, we are going to talk about something really interesting, which is, I don't know if you guys know this, but there was a huge protest a month or a couple weeks ago. It was called March for Our Lives, and basically over 1 million people were in Washington, D.C., and they basically marched and protested guns, and just, they want very strict gun laws. They want, not very strict, but more strict gun laws, So, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. Alright, so Joe, do you have any information on it?
Yeah, before we go into that, I want to make sure that if you haven't watched part 1 of our gun control podcast, please do check that out, because otherwise you're going to be missing all that information we just went over.
Yeah, you will be absolutely lost. So, yeah, watch part 1, get knowledge, and then you'll be fine.
From our knowledge tree.
Yep. And you'll be fine. So, yep. Alright.
So, we're going to talk about one of the protests that's been in the news a lot right after the shooting in Florida. It's March of Our Lives is what they call it, right?
Yep.
And the March of Our Lives protests have gained the support of hundreds of thousands of students and teachers and victims who rallied in Washington, D.C. and across the country Saturday, which is which is March, right?
Yeah.
Which is ironic because
it's called March for Our Lives.
But anyways, they honor the 17 people killed in the Parkland, Florida shooting recently. This event was one of 800 coast-to-coast that published for stricter gun laws. They say that they are frustrated by the inaction of adults, including politicians, who are praying and sending condolences, but are not passing legislation to protect kids from gun violence.
Yep, which I understand why they're protesting. Politicians are saying that they want to do something, but they aren't. They're not doing anything. They're just sitting there taking up the talk and not doing anything, so.
Yeah, and we already reiterated in part 1 of our gun control podcast that guns are not the root of the problem, and we're going to get into that on this one.
Yep.
So we're going to get into what the real problem is behind, with the shootings and stuff. Why is it happening?
And it is not what you expect, but we will get to that when we get to it. So, alright.
So what else about the March for Our Lives? Do you think they were right about doing this? I mean, I think it's right for them to do it.
They were right in their, how would you put it? They were right in their goals. you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think they needed more information on guns before they went out and protested. But I mean, yeah, all in all, those protests were awesome. They were very justified. So yes, it was good. So I think that they could have used a little bit more information. But yeah, overall it was awesome. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just awesome that they're not just whining about it on, YouTube or on, the internet, that they actually go out there and protest, They actually go out there and do something about it. So, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. We talked about how sad that the Parkland, Florida shooting is.
Yeah.
And
17 people are dead. Still, it's just, oh my goodness.
And do you want to mention something weird that I know we wanted to mention it in this podcast? Do you think we should talk about what actually happened to this guy once he was in jail? The shooter? What happened? What did he receive in the mail? Remember he received fan mail.
Oh, yeah. I actually forgot about that. Yeah, he received, people saying, like, thank you for this, and I'm inspired, and I want to do something like this, which is kind of scary.
And it's also...
it is real scary, but...
And not many people know, but he received, like, some inappropriate stuff in the mail, like...
Oh, yeah.
Like, nude photos of girls, and... I guess, because they saw his mugshot on TV, and they saw his face, and they're like, oh man, he's really hot, and I'm gonna send some nude pictures to him in prison. What is wrong with these people?
I'm sorry I'm laughing. The guy's absolutely horrible. Just, oh my gosh, people are so stupid.
I'm gonna get to the problem of this. Why in the world would you send fan mail to somebody that did something on this scale?
Well, what we're going to talk about tonight includes that as well, so,
But do you realize the type of message that it's sending people that maybe are on the verge of committing something like this?
That it is a good thing in order to get you famous. Yeah.
Yeah, because people are thinking, wow, if I do a killing, I kill like 17 plus people, I'm going to be world famous, and it's a good thing. They're going to think it's a good thing, and then they're going to go out there
in a bad way. It's called being infamous, so yeah. Yep, you're gonna be famous, but not in the way that you want, so you know
Yeah, and people are going to get the wrong message, especially the younger generation. It's mostly the younger generation, like, around our age, 19, 20 years old, that, they still haven't had their prefrontal cortex is what it's called, right?
Yeah, their brains aren't fully developed until they're 30, so their brains aren't even fully developed yet. So...
Yeah, so they're still easily swayed by different things, because they can't think out their decision very well. And they're not well thought.
Yep.
So
not fully developed, even.
Yeah, not fully developed. Yeah, that's what it really is. But it's sending the wrong message to the people that are on the verge of possibly committing a crime on this scale.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with you, Joe.
Any crime.
Absolutely.
I mean, it could be any crime. It doesn't have to be a shooting. It could be like theft,
rape.
Yeah.
And yeah, just all of that. All of that.
Yeah, because the media eats it up. Because the media just they'll highlight it like crazy, especially the Florida shooting.
Yep.
They highlighted that, and the Florida shooter, he shows no sympathy for what he did. Right?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Even at the trial, I watched it, the court trial, and even in his voice, he just was like very, very monotone. He didn't have any sort of emotion in his voice whatsoever. None. So it just goes to show you how heartless he is and how little emotion he has.
Yeah. So, yeah, hopefully this doesn't send the wrong message. I think it's stupid. I don't understand how these people can send fan mail.
It is more than stupid. It's absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah, how do you not know that that's not right? Oh my gosh.
I think they do, they just don't care.
Yeah,
honestly.
They
just messed up was what it is. Alright, so...
And then there's protests that are, countering this, right?
Yep. Pro-gun, yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, about 75 students, according to a head count by school administrators, walked onto the school's track. This is in Florida again. No, in Washington, I'm sorry. Carrying the American flag and signs that said, "Guns don't kill people, people kill people. And I support the right to bear arms." The event lasted about 20 minutes, and then students returned to class. That's something that's funny. I just find it funny how people who are pro-gun the police just only allows it to last 20 minutes and then say, nope, it's done. But anti-gun, they allow it to last for hours. That's what I find funny. You know?
Well, it's not like they're out there with guns holding them up, right?
Right, exactly. They're not...
They're just like, isn't it... Wait, it was a peaceful protest,
yeah,
right?
That's not my point. My point is that, you know, people don't like to hear support for guns. They only like to hear against it, you know?
That's the same thing with media, especially CNN. They want to talk about against guns.
Yep.
Especially the AR-15, but they do not want to highlight any pro-gun protest because they want to basically get everyone on board with the idea of banning guns.
Mm-hmm. And this pro-gun protest happened at Rockledge's Criminal Justice and Legal Studies Academy. And it said the event was meant to clear misconceptions about the Second Amendment, not support or oppose any particular political stances. And like Jared just mentioned, the media, people like CNN or MSNBC, tends to not even mention anything about this event. They are solely on the left, and they will only report what they want to report. They have an agenda, so, you know, and pro-gun is not on their agenda at all.
Mm-mm. And if I had the choice, I would be out there doing the pro-gun protest.
Yep.
If we had the opportunity, we would be out there too.
Yep. Because, like we just said, guns don't kill people, people kill people.
Yep, simple as that.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like the guns have a choice.
No, they're a tool.
Yeah.
They're a tool. Sorry guys, gun doesn't think, you know what?
I'm gonna go kill 17 people today.
Yeah.
You know?
No. Yeah, it doesn't have thoughts, it's a tool. Yeah.
Use it for good or use it for evil. It's your choice.
And I will reiterate, guns, we touched upon this in part 1, I'll just say it again, just so, you know, you guys remember. Guns save a lot more lives than they take.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm gonna say. Just think about that. Alright, so, yeah. Does that include part 1, bud?
I think that was a good conclusion for part 1, so we had to kind of do a little run over since ran out of time for the last one. So, we're gonna jump right into part 2.
Yeah, and this is important because, Jared, I don't know if you know, but, whenever a mass shooting happens, people tend to overlook the main issue. You know, they say, oh, it's, you know, guns, or, you know, oh, it's, this guy was mentally ill. Or he was a gun nut, or he was taking medicine or anything, you know? And stuff like that. Or maybe it's something even as simple as just playing violent video games, you know, like Doom or Call of Duty and stuff, you know?
Right.
But you see, none of those are entirely the reasons why he did it. I mean, they do factor into it, obviously, because, you know, a lot of things can factor into a shooting, like mental illness, like, you know, being a gun nut, like that, but that's not the main reason. And people don't also miss the real issue. The real issue isn't guns or mental illness or drugs, even video games, though they do play a factor, as we just said. The real issue, guys, is people have to acknowledge that there is sin in the world and that evil exists. Because a lot of the time, CNN, Fox News, you know, MSNBC, they just like to, you know, they like to report on things that are tangible. And that they can see, that they can hear, that they can taste, that they can touch, you know? Like, you know, we use our 5 senses every day, but there is another world there. There is, you know, I'll just put it plain, there is a spiritual realm there. And there was spiritual warfare there every day, you know? There was, you know, we battle with, you know, depression, we battle with, suicide, as we discussed last podcast. We struggle with, drinking, drugs and stuff, and that's all because of sin. It explains everything. But as I said, society has always been squeamish to even acknowledge that this exists. And I don't know why. I mean, Jode, why would you think that they do that?
Why does the media not talk about something like that?
Yeah, like, why don't we, you know, acknowledge the existence of evil? Because it's everywhere, you know?
Well, I think it's something on the lines of, well, lawmakers can't really do anything about it. It's not like they can be like, well, I'm going to make a law about you can't do this sin. You know, it's like you can't make a sin, like,
right.
You can't outlaw to do a sin, you know? That's just not going to work. You can't do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like we said, it's not tangible. So,
yeah, so
I mean, it's not...
They're trying to do something that will allow lawmakers to fix the problem. And... Right. You know, usually the only thing they could think of is, well, we need to ban guns, or ban certain ones, or assault rifles.
Yeah.
You know?
And all that crap. Don't get me wrong, though. Sin's not tangible. but the fact does remain. Sin is very, very real. It's very real, and it is, it's very prevalent, 100% of the world is affected with sin. So, I mean, that's not a surprise there.
Yeah, everyone commits sin, even if you're, like, the best person, you have the best personality, you do the best things all the time, you're still gonna commit sin.
Yeah.
Because we're
humans. We're humans. We are not perfect.
Yeah, it's not,
We're not Jesus Christ, so...
Yeah, we can't avoid sin like that all the time.
Yeah, sin is the root of everything bad in the world. Everything, whether it's mass murder, as we just discussed with part 1, whether it's rape, whether it's, theft, whether it's, what's another crime? Rape, theft,
arson?
Arson, yeah. Any of that, whether it's torture, I mean, any of that stuff. Yeah, maiming, yeah, any of that stuff. It's all sin. Now let us explain why, though. It's the root of everything. Sin is the cause of everything bad. Romans 3:10-18 says, "No one understands, and no one seeks for God." Excuse me. All have turned aside. Together they have become worthless. No one does good, not even one. The mouth is full of curses and bitterness. Excuse me. Sorry. Their feet are swift to shed blood, and their paths are ruin and misery. There was no fear of God before their eyes. So basically, now, by fear we don't mean scared,
Does that mean they just don't know God's there?
Yeah,
so
they don't.
Can't...
Fear back then also pertained to the word respect. If you have a fear of someone, you also have a certain level of respect for them, So
yeah,
fear and respect go hand in hand.
Well, like, if you don't know that God exists, say you're, an atheist, you don't believe he exists, you're not going to fear him.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so in this term, fear means, a strong admiration and you respect. So, yeah. There's no fear of God before their eyes, meaning that they don't acknowledge God. Now, I don't know, like Jared said, there are some people that honestly don't know God, but then there are some that do know he exists, but they blatantly just choose not to believe it because, that's not what they want to believe. And it's really sad. So, I mean, there's all this evidence, like, I'll give you one example. Take our DNA, for example. It is so complex, Like, our DNA is so finely tuned down to the smallest molecule.
Yeah,
it's so finely tuned. Jared, it's so finely tuned.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take over on that and say that even like when you have twins or something, you're a twin. You got someone that's identical twins. I'm talking. They look exactly the same. You think, wow, they are the exact same person. Well, they're completely different, even though they look the same. Mm-hmm. The DNA makeup is different. Mm-hmm. There's everyone's individual.
I'm going to talk about something else here. Remember hearing about that astronaut in space? When he got back, their DNA makeup was actually different. It changed.
Really?
For some reason. Yeah.
Why
changed.
Is that? Do they
because
know?
He was separated from his twin. That's why. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's evidence right there, if anything. His DNA actually changed because he was away from his twin. Somehow. They don't even know how, but it did.
Wait, how did they
change a little bit?
How did they know his DNA changed, though?
Because they ran a blood test on him, because you always run blood tests when you get back from space and stuff to make sure you're healthy.
Oh, right.
You lost weight and stuff, but yeah, his DNA makeup changed a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah, from being away from his twin.
That's something.
If that's not evidence for God right there, I don't know what is. I mean, seriously. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so Romans 3:10-18, like we said. Anyways, besides that awesome story, in the very beginning, God created first off, let me say this, reiterate, this is why sin exists. This is this is how sin entered the world, so this explains everything, okay? So Genesis, obviously, story
right.
Genesis, you all know it. We all know it. God created a perfect world for us. It had everything we needed to live. It had food. It had, water. They got, obviously, from river, probably. We don't know how long ago it was, but...
Yeah.
I'm trying to be funny, but... Yeah, it had everything we needed to live. And, Eve, Adam and Eve, obviously, first humans, they lived in perfect harmony, God gave them everything they needed. But then along comes Satan. And he's like, he deceives them, saying, if you commit a sin, God's not gonna, he's not gonna he's not gonna hate you, because you guys are perfect. And God, first off though, God didn't want them to eat a fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, because it's just, who knows why the Bible says that. It's obviously very metaphorical, but basically Satan said, you must not eat from this fruit, or you will. God said, you must not eat from this fruit, or you will surely die. But Satan comes along and he twists those words and says, you will surely not die. For when you eat of that fruit, your eyes will be open and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. So even Adam was seduced by that, They were seduced by the thought of, hey, we can be like God. We can be like God. We can know absolutely everything that God knows. That's kind of tempting, is it not?
Well, yeah.
to know everything,
if you look at any, supervillain in a comic, they want that extra power. So if it's presented to them, they're like, ooh, I can be all powerful. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
Yeah, so naturally they eat of the fruit, and let's just say it doesn't go well. Their eyes were opened, and they didn't become like God. But along comes God.
And they also become ashamed of their own bodies.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
Because at the time, they were not, clothed.
This is exactly the moment that sin entered the world, this very second. And God is walking on the floor, and he's like, Adam, Eve, where are you guys? And they said, we are here, Lord, we're here. And he's like, why didn't you call out to me? And he's like, well, we were naked, so we hid from you because we were ashamed. And he's like, who told you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree I commanded you not to eat from? And then Eve was like, Satan seduced me, and I ate the fruit. And then, God was like, he said to Satan, because you've done this, I curse you, and, curse you above all livestock, and basically he just had nothing to do with it. He found out that sin had entered the world, and now, ever since Cain killed Abel, which is what happened right after. Basically, Cain bashed his brother's head in with a rock. And that was the first killing, the first murder. So ever since Cain killed Abel, sin has been prevalent.
If you want to go down in history, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. the first murder. Yeah, the first murder. Yeah, so, yeah. And then God shows... Now, here's something that a lot of atheists like to, say. Well, if God's so loving, then why did he destroy the world with a flood? Haven't you heard that before?
Oh, of course. We get that same question, even in school. Like, you just get people that, not necessarily they're atheists.
Right.
But they're people that are questioning. They just want to know, and I understand.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And there's nothing wrong with questioning.
Absolutely nothing wrong.
Because we would like to explain it to you, so ask us.
Yeah.
And we'll explain it to the best of our ability.
Mm-hmm. Well, the reason the flood happened was because sin spread, as it does, because it's very prevalent, and it became to the point where the whole world was evil. The whole entire world. Now, you think about that. Think about that. Sin coming in the whole earth. I know there's a lot of sin on this earth, obviously. But sin coming in the whole world. Like, every person on earth. All 6 billion people are thinking very evil thoughts. They're committing adultery, they're murdering, they're, lusting after people, they're, committing theft. So this planet was in chaos, And God said, I will have no more of it. Sin has completely taken over the world, and I'm going to restart. I am ashamed that he said, I'm ashamed that I have made them because they have sinned. And since I am a just God, I hate sin. I can't take it. So he decided to restart, and he flooded the world, but he chose one man in his family. That was Noah, You all know the story, I'm sure. Built a boat, went in it for 40 days. They survived, and yeah, put the rainbow saying, never again will I destroy the earth with water. And he made a covenant with Noah, and yeah, that was that. So, yeah. So he restarted. So, ever since then, though, sin has still been prevalent.
Yeah, he didn't completely get rid of it.
No. Which, I don't know the mind of God. I don't know, why he didn't. I don't know why from that point he, just, demolished sin in general, but yeah. But I can't really explain that.
But to think that God didn't give up on us.
Yeah, exactly.
He still wanted to try to make it better. He wanted to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't, just end us and not try to restart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He actually tried to fix things.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Then that might cause an atheist to say, well, then God's not all-powerful. Don't say that. He is. Because there was a plan for that. So, God thought all this out. So it was a very, very, God wants things very specific. So he is all-powerful, but he just wants things done in a specific way,
And for all the atheists, it's like, well, how in the world can the whole entire world flood? That's impossible. People, they just can't grasp the idea of the whole world flooding.
They will say climate change. That's what they'll say. They'll say the ice caps melted, in the ice age and stuff, and they'll go on this crap about how they found water droplets in the ice and all this crap.
Well, scientists don't look at...
They try to explain it to the best of their ability, something that can't be explained.
Which they usually resort to talking about the ice caps melting and, like the icebergs moving across the land.
The water level increased because of that and all that. Now,
I will have to say, I think the icebergs actually did, move because there's glacier grooves.
Yeah.
Which it actually did happen. I believe that.
But because God flooded the earth. I mean, with that much water, yes. Yeah, glaciers move. It's obvious.
Yeah, he moved the glaciers, right?
Yeah, because there was so much water, it rained for 40 straight days and nights. Imagine that. 40 straight days and nights.
That's like Ohio weather.
That's every day. Yeah. Yeah, but it's insane. The Bible specifically says that when that happened, it covered, the mountains. It covered everything that was under the sky, basically. They said everything died. Everything. Birds, animals, humans, except for Noah and his family. And why did they die? Because they were righteous. Because they followed every single command that God told them. And God said, I have found you righteous. You are blameless. You are sinless. And your family is too. So that's why you have done good in my sight. So I will allow you to live. And that's why, now, God's not hateful. That's just the best way I can describe it. So, yeah. He was blameless. He, in his sins. So that's why he was allowed to be spared. So, yeah.
And back to the atheist thing that I was going to say is that, how if you break open a rock, not every rock, but if you go outside and you happen to find a rock and break it open, there's a chance that you can find, seashells that are ingrained in the rock.
Yep.
And that's exactly another reason that explains that the earth did flood, because that would mean, there's evidence of it in Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
And that it was flooded. So, that shows that the Bible...
Do you want to give a few more examples? Like the seashells in the rocks? What else? There's, maybe even our freakish weather. Is an example.
Dude,
of it.
I got another thing. I was in Put in Bay, which is up in Lake Erie for the people who do not know. Yeah. One of the Great Lakes.
That is an awesome place from what I heard.
And so I was up there. I think I was on Kelly's Island. I'm pretty sure. And there was a tourist destination. It's a glacier groove where it got went through it, basically engraved a divot in a rock. It was a ginormous, you could tell that something went through there.
That is insane.
You can go there and see it. There's evidence. Mm-hmm. I went and saw it myself. I have photos somewhere in my phone.
And it's not like glaciers aren't light. They're extremely heavy, probably.
Oh my gosh, yeah. There's not a whole lot of them left in the world that big. But,
yeah.
There was ones that at some point...
Yeah.
They went through Ohio, believe it or not.
Which explains, granted, during the flood, Ohio, there was not a United States. There wasn't, anything like that because it wasn't a system to divide the states like that. But still, it still happened, though,
Still went through North America.
Yeah. Can you imagine how much force of water it would have taken to move that thing?
Yeah, so that proves that all that rain that we got during the flood... Mm-hmm. It had to move it. The only amount of water that big to move it would be the flood, right?
Yeah, and here's another thing that, proves that this all really happened. And that God didn't just say build a boat. He gave exact dimensions of the boat. How high it needed to be, how long it needed to be, how, he said something like, 40 feet high and stuff like that, He gave actual dimensions of it, so it's nuts. He told him what type of wood it needed to be out of. He told him how long it needed to be, how tall it needed to be. And because of that, there was actually, I don't know if you know this, Jared, but nowadays, there's a exhibit called the Ark Expedition. It's in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And using those dimensions, they were actually able to recreate it and make it like a museum. And it's called the Creation Museum. And I've always wanted to go, though. I heard that's an awesome place, but yeah.
Okay, so here's an article. It says that it was found actually in Turkey.
Yep.
That they believe that
that's
that
another
was where
thing.
it landed.
Yep, that's another thing. I thought the Ark actually landed somewhere in Turkey.
And a team of...
On top of a mountain, right?
Yeah, Christian explorers claim they found the remains of Noah's Ark beneath snow and volcanic debris on Turkey's Mount Ararat.
Yep.
Yeah, Ararat.
Yep.
But some archaeologists and historians are taking the latest claim that Noah's Ark has been found about as seriously as they have the past ones, which is to say, not very much, you know.
Which, that's basically the same thing they looked for before, and they thought they found it, but this sounds like it's the real deal. You know?
Didn't it
well, who knows? I mean, it was a huge flood, so maybe parts of the boat were scattered everywhere.
Now,
you know?
did it say in the Bible where it landed exactly?
It doesn't need to, but...
No, I mean, did it say it landed on a mountain?
No, they said it landed, but they did say the waters receded. Which would mean
that there's no water there anymore.
Not only that, but when water pulls back, it takes things with them. So the parts of the boat, some parts of the boat when it got damaged, probably went to other countries because of that, you know? They drifted off to other places, you know?
And do you know that the wood that would still be remaining on the mountain, say it is the Ark.
Yeah.
That would be fossilized.
Yeah.
Because it's so old.
It would be preserved.
Yeah, so it's basically not real wood anymore. Mm-hmm. It's fossilized wood. Mm-hmm.
But it's still there nonetheless. So, Ian, there's overwhelming evidence. Now, I'm gonna look up the exact dimensions of it. And, Jared, you can, say something if you want, but it's just crazy, that the Bible has, so much, it's not just a religious book, it's, our faith is the truth, because it provides...
It's all of our answers to everything we need.
Everything.
And they said that while Aiden's looking that up, the Christian explorers are 99.9% sure that this is where it was. So
that's almost like 100%.
Yeah, they're pretty certain that this is actually where it is.
Okay, so these are the measurements. Okay, this is how you know that our faith is real, and this is how
they could do it on the History Channel because they've showed things like this is how it looked. And then they use those exact dimensions to put like a digital image of it off of a computer.
So listen to this. This is insane, guys. Okay, this is crazy. Okay, this is from Genesis 6, ESV version. Basically, he's saying, God's telling them how to build the ark and stuff, saying, I'm gonna destroy the earth, here's what you need to do to prepare. Alright, so God said, make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark and cover it inside and out with pitch. This is how you ought to make it. The length of the ark will be 300 cubits. Its breadth, 50 cubits, and its height, 30 cubits. Make a roof for the ark, and finish it to a cubit above. And set the door of the ark in its side. Make it with lower, second, and third decks.
That's pretty specific.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy.
I like your sensory detail.
Yeah, that's insane, isn't it, Joe? Like, that much detail. When God told them to, how to build it.
And many Christians believe the mountain in Turkey is the final resting place of Noah's Ark, which the Bible says protected Noah, his family, and pairs of every animal species on Earth during a divine, deluge that wiped out most of humanity.
Divine flood. Yeah. Basically, because, like I said, sin had corrupted the earth. Every thought of man was impure. That's why that had to happen. Yeah, and I forgot to mention the most important part. Thanks, Jared. He added 2 of every animal. That's pretty important.
That's probably one of the biggest things, in that part of the Bible.
Yeah, so there's overwhelming evidence. If you guys, don't, to any atheists out there, if you see that and you still don't believe, that's sad because, given exact dimensions over here, I mean, come on, you can't argue with that. You can't argue with numbers,
Yeah.
You can't argue with numbers at all. That's just crazy.
That's crazy. I love watching those history channels that prove about the Bible.
Yeah.
Like they believe they found exactly where Jesus, came back from the dead.
Yeah.
And, where he was laid to rest.
Yeah. Yeah, that one find, they found the shroud of him, when he exited the tomb. Like, that finding and stuff, yeah.
And that gives me the, shivers.
Yeah.
believe that that's the actual thing.
Archaeologists just found, this year actually, they found a tablet of stone, but not just any tablet. Do you know what was on it?
What?
The signature of Isaiah.
Whoa.
Yep.
Ha!
He literally signed it.
I'd rather like that than a baseball player's signature any day.
Like, think about that though. Isaiah's signature. The prophet Isaiah.
Mm-hmm.
He is one of the most influential prophets in history.
Are they sure that's his signature?
Oh yeah, they somehow were able to do testing and they found it to be his. It was carved on the rock.
Wow.
It was his signature.
I bet that's worth a lot of money.
Oh, you don't even, it's priceless. They have it in a museum now or something. Like, they don't take it somewhere.
Wow.
That's priceless. That is amazing. And it's still legible, which is insane. It was also probably fossilized, but yeah. It's insane.
Well, they, carbon dated the wood taken from the discovery site.
This of the boat.
Yeah, and, whose location they're keeping secret for now shows the Ark is about 4,800 years old, which coincides roughly with the time of Noah's flood implied by the Bible.
Yep.
So it's exactly almost around that time. So that's
I've never understood the
carbon dating.
Just the years of it, like because the Bible doesn't specifically state when it happened, but
Yeah, it's kind of like you read a story and it jumps around, So there's
well, it doesn't jump around. It's very coherent, but I mean, it doesn't give specific dates, which is why archaeologists sometimes have trouble.
Because it's not like they say September 17th, this year,
No, but they did give, like I said, exact dimensions for the boat. So I mean, there is for people who love math, and who are doubting. Look into it. There's evidence.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. Now, why did God have to flood the world, and why did sin enter the world? Because a lot of people like to say, "Oh, God is a killer." He flooded the whole world. He killed all 6 billion people. He's an animal. He hates humanity. No. Here's what happened. Okay. God is actually very loving. Because he gave us free will. He gave us free will,
He gave us the choice of what we want to do, whether we want to follow God or we want to disrespect and do the sinful things that much of the world does nowadays.
Yeah.
And always has,
every one of us does.
Yeah,
me, you, Jared,
we all have sinful ways.
Everyone.
Just some more than others.
And think about this. Who wants to be a robot, right? Like, who wants to, be, God said, what, Jared, how would you have taken it if God, said, you will love me, and you don't have a choice to love me?
Well, that would be just like, well, we wouldn't have a choice. I mean, that's
You'd be pretty mad, though, huh?
That's just like, with like kings and queens, that's why that's such an unpopular way of ruling a society, because you don't have a choice, because you got one leader that's controlling everything you do.
That's why the UK's so messed up.
Well, not really UK. The UK is not like that.
I know, that's just that's the easiest way I can put it. That's the easiest
like the Queen of England, she doesn't really have any governmental power.
No,
she's just a figure.
No, it's not the Queen's fault. Tell me if you agree on this here. It's like the Congress of that place. Like, it's the Parliament. It's their fault that the country's so, out of whack. It's not messed up, but it's out of whack,
Yeah.
There's so much things happening there. But yeah.
And, if you look at Russia is messed up.
It is that place. That leader's a psychopath. Putin is a psycho.
I mean, we could do a whole nother podcast on Putin.
Yeah, we keep saying that every podcast.
I know, because there's always another one that comes up in my mind.
I know, but it's true though,
We need to do a podcast about Russia relations with the U.S., because this is something that, everyone talks about all the time. We need to do that. So,
yeah.
But anyways, Russia, with their leader Putin,
he's as sinful as can be.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the richest men in the world.
That's not what makes him rich. I mean, that's not what makes him rich. What makes him sinful? That's not what makes him sinful. It's okay to be rich.
Yeah, but what he does, do you really believe they just had a election, supposedly an election recently,
supposedly
election, because I think it was rigged because I think he got like 70-something% of the votes.
Yeah. Like,
and
what
it's
the heck?
Do you really think that he would have won re-election if it was up to the people? Do you really think they would elect him? I really think they would elect someone else because they realize that Putin is this, horrible psychopath. He might have either, one thing, threatened to put him in power, said, you better vote for me.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna kill you.
Or I'm gonna kill anyone who tries to oppose me.
Yeah.
Or it might have been a thing where he just rigged the vote. He just went in and had guys, take the votes away and change it to his vote.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways.
Russia is, tell me if you agree with this, Joe. Now, it's not fully reverting, but I think it's starting to revert back to its old days when it was the USSR. I think it's starting to go back to that.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, I think it's honestly reverting back to that. But, besides that, this is all because free will. Because, God gave us free will. And like I said, we don't want to be robots. We don't want to, have God instead say, you will love me and you will, obey my every command. But, because he gave us free will, we chose to rebel against God. And thus, sin and evil entered and destroyed the perfect creation God made.
Mm-hmm.
But, on the other hand, God gave us free will. And if we choose to love God, that makes it all the more satisfying and all the more, intimate, and all the more, how would you put it? All the more awesome when we choose to follow God.
Yeah, and God respects that.
Yeah, he really does, yes.
And he really respects the fact that if we choose to follow him, especially when we give our heart away to God when we pass away.
To follow Jesus. Not just, and everything. Yeah.
When you say, a lot of people that don't believe God all through their life, and then they're like, right when they're about to die, they're like,
yeah,
you know what?
Right on the deathbed.
Yeah, they're right on their deathbed, and they say,
there's an overwhelming amount of evidence, and I have messed up.
I have done wrong. I want to be with you, Lord.
Yeah. And right then and there, God's like, okay, you know what? This guy's deserving of my love. And you know what? You follow me now, and you're a child. You're my child. I mean, think about that. When God says you're my child, after everything we've done, after all the crap we've done, after, how vile our race is. The human race, I mean, If we choose to follow God, God loves us like we're his children. Like, think about that.
Wow.
With how messed up we are, That's insane. It's crazy. So, anyway, yeah, he gave us free will, we rebelled against him, sin under the world. And ever since Cain killed Abel, sin's grip is still as strong today as it ever was. Because of sin, there was evil in our hearts, and we all naturally want to oppose God and his laws from birth. Because Adam and Eve rebelled. Like we just said, sin entered, and now, from birth, we all naturally want to oppose God. Because the human race is, we're arrogant, We're arrogant, we think we know everything. We think we got it all mapped out. It's just, it's absolute madness. It is madness is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's absolute madness. And, also because of sin and evil, lawlessness is the byproduct of a fallen world. Of a fallen planet. Lawlessness is the byproduct of it. So everything from, like we said, murder to rape to theft, everything. It is a byproduct of sin and evil entering the world because we chose to rebel against God. That was our choice. We didn't have to. It was our choice. We never died when we were first created. We were absolutely, we were immortal, We didn't die. But Satan deceived us. We, chose to believe what he said. We sinned. We rebelled against God. We ate of the fruit. And sin entered it, and now we die. And do you guys want to know why death exists? Because God said right then and there, man is evil, and I will not contend with his sin as no longer. And his days have been limited to, I don't know, like, he said like 100 years or something. And that explains why we only live to be, about like 100,
Well,
that explains that too, so, I mean...
Well, in the Bible, earlier in the Bible, I remember reading that there was humans that lived like 500 some years before the flood, right?
That was the exact...
That was before the flood, right?
Yeah, and Noah lived to be 900.
Yeah.
Before he died. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy to believe?
Even then, God had,
death.
No, I was gonna say, even then God had a little bit of lenience.
Mm-hmm.
Because he still allowed Noah to live 900 years, I mean, so even then, even after we sinned, God still loves us.
So why exactly do we not live, say, 900 years?
Because, like we said, I think now this could be a whole nother podcast, but it's because of today's society, specifically. Because we are now in the age where everything has to be, no, not politically correct, but, everyone just doesn't care anymore, Like, back in the 50s, I think, people cared a lot more about this kind of stuff back in the 50s than they did now, you know what I mean? Like, even, 20, 30 years ago, And it's just, we've gotten to the point now where we just don't care anymore. Yeah. Where it's like, I sin, but I'm okay with it, and I love it. In fact, people love to sin nowadays. They don't give a crap.
Yeah, some people don't really think before they do certain things. It's almost second nature. People end up doing things that they're too comfortable with doing. Too comfortable with doing, is what I'm trying to say. And, just like serial killers, they end up, they're so used to killing people, they have no heart, and they just go ahead and do it.
Jared, you led right into this. You literally led right into this. And how does this explain these shootings specifically? Well, since we know that there was evil in the world that exists, some people love committing murder. And they will do whatever is necessary to kill. Think about it this way. This is going back to Parkland, Florida, and Cruz. The shooter, obviously. If Cruz wouldn't have had an AR-15, he probably would have used a knife. And if not a knife, a pencil. And if he didn't even have a pencil, his bare hands. In the mind of a mass murderer, they want to, in essence, play God. They want to be God. Have a control over whether someone lives or dies.
Wow.
Like, they think, you know what, you don't get to decide whether you die. I'm going to decide for you. Because everyone's against me, everyone hates me, so you know what? I'm going to hate them right back. And you know what? You don't get to choose whether you die or live. So, people who want to murder will do so through whatever means necessary. They don't follow laws. They are lawless and sinful people who want nothing more than to see someone die, and they just want, they lust for blood is what they want, And they would do whatever they can to make their sick, twisted fantasies a reality, whether it is within the confines of the law or not. They don't care that, Congress set a law saying you don't kill. They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
They just, they're just so sapped of empathy and affection and, they're just sapped of so much, of that they love killing. They're just, it's madness. No pun intended, but it's madness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolute madness. Joe, do you have any thoughts on this? Like before, like we're not moving on, but like, for this part of it, like, you have any,
Well, I mean, it's just, it's ridiculous how heartless certain people could be.
Mm-hmm.
With shootings.
Yeah.
They just go in there, whatever their motive might be, whether it be to be famous or they want to get revenge on a certain student.
Yeah. I'm
guessing that for example, like the Parkland, Florida shooter, Nicholas Cruz, right?
Yeah.
He kind of, I believe that he went in there just because he wanted to shoot up the school where he got expelled from, right? He got expelled from that school.
Yeah, but...
He wanted to get revenge. He was out there for revenge. Was he out there to be famous? I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, from what I understand, at least from what I can understand, there were no signs of him wanting revenge. I honestly think it's just a disturbed mind that wants nothing more than people's blood spilled. Like, some people are just that evil.
I know.
Some people are just that, evil. That's all I can say about it. Some people just like killing people. And that's messed up, but it's true. And it's really sad. But there are people like that out there. And that's...
Believe it or not.
Yeah. And also, like we touched upon it, but yeah, like we said, never mind. So we sinned, and because of that, this was messed up. There were people that think like that. There were people that rape other people. There were, this theft, all that. But you guys might be thinking, well, you guys have just been very negative. You've been saying, oh, there's no hope. There's no hope. This world is on its last legs. And that God's gonna judge us soon. But there is hope. This is the fun part because you guys need to hear some good for a change.
Yeah, instead of talking all about the bad stuff, we're talk about some good.
Yep. And there is a cure to this messed up society, and that cure is Jesus Christ. He was crucified and he died for your sins, yours. Let me emphasize this word, okay? Your sins, you listening to us right now, your sin, and Jared's. And mine, and...
everyone on Earth.
Yeah, and my dad's, and my dog's, I guess. I mean, yeah, he's died for you. You. Your sin specifically. And mine, and his, and everyone else's, And in Jesus, we are made free of sin. And can be forgiven for it. And we get to still live with God because of that when we die. We still get to be with God, Get to be with God. Think about that. Jesus was God's son, obviously. And he gave up his son for us. Now think about it this way, okay? I watched a video a couple weeks ago, and it really got to me. It kind of brought tears to my eyes. Because, think about it this way. A preacher put it this way, Think about if you're a dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have the son whom you love. And you do everything with him, And the son, who this case would be Jesus, obviously, sees that there's a lot of messed up things in the world, And he says, Daddy, what are you going to do to save this? What are you going to do to, help out here? And Jesus wants to, save the world, And so Jesus, willingly gives up his life. And as Father, which obviously, God the Father, he has to give up his son, Not be with the son anymore. In order to give himself up for, our sins. That's how much he loves us. That is how much he loved us. Think about that. That's mind-blowing. That's just...
Yeah, it is.
That's insane. I mean, whenever I think about it, I'm humbled by that so much. I'm so humbled. Because I think that God loves us enough to have his son killed for us,
Yeah.
And slaughtered and maimed and beaten and, And then that goes into, we could open a whole podcast about how crucifixion and how bad that was, Like the thing, the Romans, the people who crucified Jesus, they were masters of execution, huh, Joe? They were like, they knew how to kill someone.
Yeah, I mean, we're sounding like a broken record here with talking about other podcasts that we could do, but, it truly is. Every time we start talking about a podcast, we run into something that we can, start a new one with, so.
Yeah, it's just, what he went through. It's just... It's unthinkable. He died the death that we couldn't die. I mean, Jared, you and I say that, we would do that for Jesus so that he could live. But would you? Think about that. Would you really? If you were, think about it. If you were Jesus in that, specific time and that specific place right then and there, would you like to be nailed to a cross? Have your, nails put through your wrist and feet?
Would I want
for that pain? Yeah, exactly.
Would I want to?
Yeah.
No, but
and would you do it? Would you do it? I mean, be honest. Would you do it? Because we're humans, we hate pain. Would you do it?
No. I mean, is looking at it from a human standpoint, you wouldn't want to do it.
Right.
And that's the initial reaction. So for someone to actually give in and do that.
Well, it's not giving in. It's doing what's necessary.
Yeah,
I mean, because think about it. This is how scared Jesus... Now, people think, that, some people now... Actually, they don't, but, It used to be a common notion that, Jesus is God, so, it was easy for him. No, it wasn't. Now, there's this, condition where... Okay, first of all, I'm gonna explain this. there was a part in the Bible talking about before Jesus got crucified, 12 hours to be exact, before he got crucified. And Jared, you've probably heard this. It was when he was in the garden, when he was praying. And let's just say there was a lot of agony in him. Like, think about this, okay? There was so much agony that he sweat blood. There was so much stress in him that he sweat blood.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how much stress that someone would have to have in order for that to happen? Like, I forget what the condition's called, but that is what, sweating blood, that is an actual documented medical condition. And it's under extreme levels of stress. Extreme levels of stress. So, guys, don't think that it was easy for him. For Jesus. Don't think it was easy. People say, oh, he's God, so it's easy. It's not easy. Because when God gave his son up, God the Father gave Jesus up, he was made human. He was stripped away of his holiness and of his divinity, of that, to be on a mission, which was to save humanity and to preach the good news, which is you can be saved. But he was stripped away of his divinity and made fully human. Which, this goes into the whole thing with the Holy Trinity and God the Father, God the Son, which is insane also, because he's fully human yet he's fully God. That's something I can't even begin to comprehend. When I'm in heaven, I'm sure God will tell me that I'll fully understand it then, but for now, it's really hard to wrap my mind around. That he's fully human yet he's fully God. But yeah, like I said though, going back to what we're talking about now, he was stripped away of his divinity, made human. So, because of that, guess what happened when he was crucified? He did what? He felt pain.
Yeah.
He felt the most excruciating pain anyone can ever feel when he was crucified. So...
And the sweating blood thing, has this ever happened to anyone else?
Yep. It's very common for some people. Whenever they get really stressed. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. It's called heme something. It's an actual medical condition, as I said, so... Yeah. It's just under extreme stress. And I mean extreme stress. So yeah. Yeah, the agony in the garden, that's what happened. And then obviously, that's the story. He gets arrested and gets, beaten, crucified and all that. So yeah. It tears me up every time when I think about how much he did for us, So that we could be here, so that we can be saved, so that we can be with him in heaven when we die, so that we can be with him when sin's defeated and death is defeated. But that's another thing. He was resurrected 3 days later, which is awesome. I mean, and there's evidence for that too. Like we said, the shroud that was found, Yeah,
there's all sorts of historical evidence, and it's always interesting to watch the History Channel when they start talking about biblical, historic things like that. Mm-hmm. It's interesting to see different evidence that they can come up with.
Exactly, and that's another thing that a lot of Christians tend to leave out. They talk about the crucifixion, and that's obviously important, but they don't mention what happened after, which is probably the most important part, and that Jesus rose from the dead. That's how they missed the whole thing. They missed the point of why he's God. Because he was resurrected 3 days later. He rose from the dead. And to the atheists who say, now I'm going to get off on a tangent here, because there are a lot of atheists that say that's not possible. No one can be raised from the dead. That's not possible at all. Well, I'm going to prove you wrong. And Jared, you can verify, if what I'm saying even sounds remotely, now I know I'm right, but, you can, agree with me or not agree with me, it's fine. Yeah. But anyway, people say, oh, the people that saw him, his disciples, they hallucinated. Christian historians, found that over 500 people saw him when he was resurrected. Over 500.
Yeah, so what's the chances that 500 people are going to hallucinate?
Not that, but see the same person. That's what I'm trying to get across. Why? How can 500 people were proven to have seen Jesus when he was resurrected? And not only that, but his followers, Peter, Luke, all of them, his disciples, his followers, his friends are closest to him. They actually, touched him, they,
yeah,
they
so
felt
real
his scars,
physical.
they felt, yeah.
Yeah.
He can do stuff like, he is ghostly in appearance, but he has a newly resurrected physical body. that they were actually able to touch and feel, you know?
Yeah.
And that's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And you want to know another thing, what's another cool discovery that I found out? Is that I don't even know how. His blood was probably fossilized, but they got a vial of Jesus' blood.
What?
Yeah, when he died, it was fossilized. Because you know how mosquito blood is sometimes fossilized and that, you know, people can draw from that, you know?
Okay.
And they found that. Now, this is, I don't know if this source is true or not, but I would like to believe it's true. Apparently, scientists found a vial of Jesus, you know, they found Jesus' blood, and it is, now, I don't think this is coincidental at all. I think it's a claim by God. It is one of the rarest blood types in the history of the world. Like, it is a blood type that not a lot of people have at all.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, like, do they know exactly what type?
I don't remember. All I know is that it's very rare. It's a very rare blood type.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a cool discovery. That is cool. If it happened. Now, I take this with a grain of salt. But if it did happen, that's insane, you know?
You know, even more evidence to point to that, you know, it really happened for the people that do not believe it. And here's what many people think that Christians do. They believe that we don't need those physical evidence like that. All we need is the Bible.
Well, we do. I mean, there shouldn't have to be a bunch of searching, but...
Well, I mean, yeah...
But it does influence it even more. Like, we're gonna say that it helps even more when there is actual physical evidence, too.
Yeah, I mean, it helps to, you know, get the point across to people that don't believe in the Bible that it actually did happen because, look, there's evidence to prove it. But that's always how scientists are. They always need proof. They can't have no, you know, theory.
Not just scientists, people who love to be scientific.
It doesn't, not necessarily scientists, but just people that are scientific thinkers.
Yeah, I like to think about everything. I like to...
Yeah, they gotta make sure... Yeah, they need proof that it actually happened.
Yeah.
But as Christians, we don't need that actual physical evidence to know that God was walking the earth.
Yep.
Or to believe that he, you know, died for our sins. We don't need that physical evidence, but, you know, it's always nice to have it.
Yeah.
But do we need it? No. We don't, not necessarily.
No. And here's the thing, is that, you know, yeah, like, actually not the thing, but yeah, like you just said, we don't need evidence. We know what's true.
Yeah.
It says it in the Bible. And that's the first thing I point to whenever I'm troubled with something, you know? I'm refer to the Bible.
But we always need that physical evidence to help prove to the people that are those analytical thinkers.
Yeah.
That need that evidence for proof.
Yeah.
To believe it themselves.
And I think it's God's blessing that that's there, you know, to help us, you know, prove our point even more.
Yeah, because God knows that there's people like that. He knows everything.
He knows every single hair on your body.
He knows how many hairs are on your body.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. He knows that. Wow.
How many hairs in total? Well, 2 million something.
Yeah. Yeah. Joking aside, though, I mean, he knows everything. He knows how many stars are in the sky. He knows, from Job. You've all heard Job, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the story of suffering, you know? And we're talking about sin tonight, so maybe, you know, I'll talk about it a little bit. Basically, Job was, you know, blameless, you know? And he, you know, did everything right in God's eyes. And yet, everything that could have happened to him happened to him. Everything bad. You know? He lost everything. But he retained his faith in God. He retained his faith in God. That stuck with him. And you know what happened after? Do you want to know what happened, Jared?
What?
After God gave him twice as much as he had before. Twice as much.
Wow.
Because he chose to stick with God.
So that's great.
The point of this is that, what we're trying to make is that there was sin and evil in the world. The media has to acknowledge it. People have to acknowledge it. Atheists have to acknowledge it. They have to. There is no other explanation for why this world is messed up other than sin. There was none. Mental illness won't do it. That's no excuse. Violent video games is no excuse. Yeah, it's not an excuse. There is sin in the world. There is, you know, and if we would just realize that, if the human race would just acknowledge sin and evil now, then I think that this world would be a better place. And another thing is that, you know, what was I gonna say? Yeah, never mind. Yeah, is that it exists, and Yeah, it's just, there's overwhelming evidence, too, that it does exist,
Yeah, and, so it really just helps to drive the point home.
Yeah, and I'll say this one more time, we need to acknowledge it. There are a lot of people that, don't acknowledge it, and that are very, I guess, they have a lot of shields up, I guess I could say. They deflect a lot of
and you have to be open in order to start thinking about the ideas that Christians do have. Because atheists and people that believe in other religions other than Christianity, they aren't normally open to new ideas like Christianity.
Yep.
And that's a problem because you got to be open in order to understand. Because if you're not open, you're just going to reject it immediately. You're going to be like, nope, that's not true because of this in my religion.
I know a couple people that think like that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's just, I just hope that one day that God comes back quickly. Because he needs to. God, where are you at, man? It's just, it's just, all people have to do is accept Christ. And know that he saved you. And, accept him, and not only that, most importantly, say, you literally say, God, I know I messed up. I've sinned against you. I am a frail human being. I know you died for my sins, and I love you, and I will follow you to the ends of the earth. I will try to follow your command and do whatever you say. I am now your follower. And he will take you with open arms. That's all it takes. It's not very complicated to come to Jesus. It's not very complicated at all. So, yeah, that's all we can say about that.
So, anything else you'd like to mention on that?
We could talk about some other Bible stories. We have a good hour left. So, I guess I could talk more about Job. If you want to hear that. About, what exactly happened.
Ahead.
Okay, well, Joe, you can, say something if you want to search up some more archaeology stuff, We'll talk about it a little bit more. Yeah, that was insane, though, all this evidence, but it's just crazy. It's just, Joe, do you think that there are scientists out there that are atheists, and because of that, no matter what you throw at them, they'll just say no? There are people like that out there. They just go, they just don't believe whatever you throw at them. Okay, so this is from Job.
Alright, go ahead. Lay it on me.
Alright, so, I gotta find it here. Sorry guys. It just, man. Bible app is, being messed up right now, so I gotta find it.
Well, God did not intend for the Bible to mess up.
No! Hey, that's not what I mean. Yeah.
I don't think it's supposed to work like that.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just say what it is, I can't find it, okay? Basically, he says, him and his friends are arguing about, God, and, saying, why is God allowing all this suffering, and, all this. And then God comes into the picture. And whenever God comes to talk, the smack is about to be laid down on people,
Yeah.
So God's got something to say about this. And he literally says to Job, prepare yourself, brace yourself like a man. He literally says that. And when God says something like that, that stuff's about to go down,
Yeah, really.
Yeah, so he says, where were you when I laid the earth's foundations? Basically saying, where were you when I created the earth? Tell me the dimensions of the earth. And he says it in a righteously sarcastic way. He says, where were you when I laid the foundations? Surely you know. Surely you know, Job. Surely you know. And no, but not to him, but to his friends. Where were you when I, created the earth? Surely you know. You can name every stone in the sky, right? You can know every drop in the ocean. You can figure all this out since you're so intelligent. And it basically shows them that you don't know everything. And that I'm God. And what I say is just. And what I say is true and just and, is real. Which, makes me personally think that us humans don't know crap about anything. Compared to the mind of God.
Right.
And that's what's also funny, is that people try to... It's so funny. People try to understand God and try to wrap their mind around, why he does things. Why do we do that, Jared? Why?
Well, we want to know exactly, if it's a... We want to know, we want to nail down what he does. We want to be able to figure out, his type of reaction, I guess, to different things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe figuring out, because, as humans, we judge people and think that that's how they do things in certain situations, and God is not, he's all knowing, so
he's omniscient.
Yep, omniscient.
Yep.
And so we can't wrap our minds around what he does for us.
We can too.
I mean, we appreciate it as much as we can of
Mm-hmm.
what we do understand.
Yeah. And I think that's I'll get into this too. I think God left a lot of things out of the Bible on purpose. On purpose.
That's not for us to understand, right? Like, to find for ourselves.
Yeah. That we don't know. Now, it's not because that God doesn't want us to know everything. It's not because, he wants us to be lost, but it is because of, there is a thing called faith. Yeah. And what the Bible doesn't say, that's why faith has to come in. It has to. It has to come in. That is our strongest, defense, is our faith. Is what, us knowing that Jesus is Lord, knowing that, God is real. And I was talking to my dad this morning. Every Saturday we grab a coffee together, which is really nice,
Yeah.
And we spend family time together. And me and my dad were talking, and we were talking about, how someone I know, I won't name him, but he's like, Jesus was just very charismatic. He was very, that's why he was able to gain a crowd. And my dad said this, and I'll never forget this. We know what we believe. And Jesus is God. But there are really, when you really think about it, if you don't believe, there are only really two options. Either three, actually. Either Jesus was the biggest liar in history, and he fooled literally the whole earth, literally. Either he was a lunatic, he was a crazy person, and he deserves to be put in a mental asylum, or he was who he says he is. And that is the Son of God. And that's another thing that people say, atheists say, is that don't push your religion on us. Don't push your, you can tell me about it if you want. Like, don't push your, faith on us. Don't tell us what to believe.
Exactly.
And who sentenced Jesus to death? Not the Romans. Religious people. Religious people sentenced him to death. If you think about it, Jesus came to abolish religion. If you think about it. Because...
like the current ones that were around, right?
Yeah, then, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Jesus was Jewish, obviously,
Yeah.
And guess who crucified him? Jews. They sentenced him to be crucified.
Because wasn't it because a lot of the thinking process was different?
Mm-hmm, the way he thought, and it was considered blasphemy. Considered that he was blaspheming. And even nowadays, blaspheming is a really bad sin. Like, that is... people think that suicide is an unforgivable sin. That's not true. Blasphemy is. Blasphemy, calling yourself God, is unforgivable because, you're basically... but Satan... that's how Satan fell. Is it because he had pride and he was blaspheming and saying, I will be like God. I will ascend above the clouds. I will,
Oh, do you want to know something? I just came to my mind. I was
Satan
thinking
fell.
about, with the Titanic, they tried to defy God. They said, this boat, God cannot even sink this boat.
That's not true. That's just, people like to take that metaphor and mess it all up. That's just, yeah, Christian get all over that. That's something that we don't need to concentrate on. That's just stupid.
Well, you don't believe that actually was said, or?
No, I don't believe that's why the boat sank. I honestly believe it was a mistake, and they hit an iceberg. You don't think... No, he didn't. No. God wouldn't do that. Like I said, the only reason that the original flood happened is because we were sinful. Every thought of man was evil. But
here's the thing, though. The Titanic was... the people that basically built the Titanic were cocky and like, yeah, not even God can...
Is being cocky a sin, though? I mean, think about it.
I know, but they're being cocky to, like, maybe if I'm cocky about you, being to you, then maybe no, but they're saying it to God. They're saying, yeah, God can't do that. Isn't that going to make him, fired up about it?
No. No. Dude, he's God. He has much bigger things to worry about than sinking a boat. I mean, think about it.
Yeah, but
he rules over the whole universe, dude. He has everything to watch. Why would he want us to concentrate on a group of 100 people?
But he concentrates on everyone every day. So it does. What is that difference?
That's because.
I mean, you got to remember that God is with each one of us. So how can him saying that? Oh, I can't concentrate on this one thing, this boat. That doesn't make any sense because if he concentrates on each one of us,
no, what I mean is like he doesn't want to because there are bigger things to worry about. Like, think about that. What you just said. Oh, they said something, so I'm gonna kill them all. I mean, does that not sound bad to you? I mean, some of the things like that.
I mean,
you just said something, so I'm gonna, kill all 1,500 of you and sink a whole boat and kill not millions, but thousands of people. God doesn't think like that. That's not. I mean, that's not. He is just, but he's also, like I said, another important thing. He's loving. He's patient. He's kind. So that kind of defeats the whole, thing about, And they probably were drunk when they said that anyway. So I mean, so it's just no. I don't believe God sank the Titanic. It was just a mishap on the captain's part for not looking at the map and knowing that there was a giant iceberg there.
But how does that not,
That does get my college.
How does that?
That does get me thinking, though.
How does that not make you think that that's a red flag there? Because right after they say that, this thing is unsinkable, and then they go out on their voyage,
and
then it sinks, and it hits an iceberg.
Not only sinks, but it breaks in half.
But what if? Yeah. But maybe God didn't necessarily sink the boat like, just like pow pow, shoot it and it goes boom, sinks in the ocean. He put that iceberg there to test it, basically. That's
maybe it was the same iceberg that moved without whenever the flood happened. I don't know, but that'd be crazy. But I mean,
what a coincidence.
No, dude, I don't think God would do that because listen, as I said, he's loving. And, it's just, I don't see why. Okay, here's the thing, I'm gonna get into this too. Is that, you've heard the story of, not story, but you've heard people say, God says he's loving, but in the Bible, it says that he's destroyed whole cities with fire. And with death and destruction, and the Passover, God wiped out Egypt entirely. And there's another story called the Fall of Sodom and Gomorrah. Have you heard this?
I don't think so.
It's where it's where Abraham, his family members are taken there. Abraham is, basically, a descendant to all of us, basically. He's, he came right after, Cain and Abel and stuff, but I'm not gonna get into the whole thing about that, but, yeah, Abraham was just know that he was very close to God. He was, very close to God. Just know that. Well, he goes to save, some of his family members that were trapped in a city, that were captured by, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. And they were a sinful city. They were very evil as well. And Abraham asked God, don't destroy the city, because my family's in there. Don't destroy, God said, I'm gonna rain down fire on them because it's sinful. And Abraham's like, no, don't. Please, my family's in there. So he ends up getting them out, obviously. But Abraham still doesn't want the city to be destroyed because, because it was just, there's just a lot of people dead, And God says, God starts with like this, if I find 100 people in the city, then I will spare it. And then God says, if I find 50 people in the city, then I'll spare it. If I find 10 people, if I find 1 person. Keep in mind, Abraham's family's already out of there and safe. But God did not find one single person in the city that was sinless. Not one. Not one single person that followed God. Not one. So what happened? Right? He destroyed the city. He didn't find one single person in there that was willing to follow him. That does good in his eyes. So basically what happens is that God literally brings meteorites down on the city, literally. He brings fire down, and you guys obviously can picture what that is, what that looks like, And while Abraham is getting his family out of there and running, an angel leads them out. An angel appears to Abraham and says, I'll help you get them out of the city and stuff, So they're winning with this angel. Abraham's winning with this angel, getting his family out, and the angel says, "Don't look back at it. Don't look back at the city of sin. If we do that, you'll from the stone." And what happens? Well, one of his family members, or two, I don't remember exactly how many, but someone disobeys. And, they get turned to stone. So him and his family escape, and that city's destroyed because, like I said, God couldn't find one person in it that was sinless.
So let me ask you this question. That prompted something else to come up in my head.
While I was explaining it?
Yeah.
Okay.
This, relating it back to the Titanic, what we just mentioned. Well, not everyone died as we know it on the Titanic. So,
right.
What's to say that God didn't save certain people
right.
and let other people sink?
You probably thought about that while I was explaining God's not, all,
Yeah, that's why I'm not saying that he wanted to kill everybody on the boat.
Right.
But
and happened by accident. But he actually saved some people.
There's certain people that were basically designated survivors that, he saved. And
I think God was, I don't think it was specifically chosen, but I think God was with the people that day. Or that night or whatever happened, I think God was with the people then. As in general.
I honestly believe that God was trying to make a point with sinking the Titanic because it's like you shouldn't defy him like that and say, this boat's unsinkable, God can't sink it. Not even God can sink it.
Yeah.
And you're saying that's a challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
That's like, you want to go, bro?
Yeah. That's like the story in the Bible when Jacob, when he wrestled with God. Remember hearing about that story?
Yeah.
Well, he was, wrestled with him and God basically just touched him and, his whole body, was in pain, Like, Jacob challenged God and God was like, okay, you wanna, challenge my, divinity? Then, okay, you have it your way.
So you see my point now about the Titanic?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's just another example. It's a more modern example than talking about something that was already said in the Bible. So it's something more. Story. It's something more closer to home.
But but that's not an excuse though for you atheists to say that God hates us. No, we challenged him. And that's why he did what he did. So you know what?
And
that was our fault in the first place. So
there's a lot of mystery in it. Even though, we may be able to explain it like I'm trying to right now.
Like
there's still a lot of mystery.
Yeah.
Like, why did he save those certain people?
Yeah. Why did he?
Why are those?
Why were the? You said the reason probably was that they said it wasn't sinkable, but there are probably other reasons why it sank, and we don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I'm just wondering what's his reasoning with who he was wanting to live. You know what I mean?
It's very specific.
Because
I think those people followed God. That's all there was to it. I think that's why.
That could be the easiest answer.
Yeah, it's simple. I think, in my opinion. But Jared, I think I didn't think about the Titanic like that. Actually, wow. That is something to think about. Wow. Because I've always thought it was just some stupid thing someone said.
Yeah,
but now I think about it, they did challenge him. Now that I think about it,
once you dissect it and start looking at the fact that
they did say that
the biggest, boldest statement of that time was, this is unsinkable.
Not even God can.
God can sink it, and that's like,
you know what?
You know what? Watch me.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, what?
But I will reiterate again. That's only because they were arrogant.
Yeah, I would advise you not to
challenge God.
Not to challenge him like that. Yeah,
because he will grant your wish. If you want him to, if you want to challenge him, he'll be challenged and he'll give in. But you won't like the result. Yeah, so all in all, dude, getting back to this, I think we basically said everything, but just to wrap up here, dude, what are your final thoughts on this? Is that, there is sin and evil in the world,
Yeah.
And that people need to acknowledge this. People need to acknowledge it. CNN does, MSNBC, Fox News, People need to acknowledge that sin exists, and that, because of that, there is things like Parkland, Florida, that happened. There's stuff like Sandy Hook.
Right.
Where someone goes in and shoots 20 people. 20 kids. While there was stuff like, murder, theft, arson. Even something as simple as jaywalking. walking on one side of the road and stuff. Yeah, even that. Only a full and stuff like that, And we commit sins every day, whether you believe it or not. Like, whenever we say, one of the 10 Commandments is honor your mother and your father.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we say no to our parents every day, and that's, sinning. We don't even think about it. We sin on a small scale, too.
Yeah.
But the difference between our faith, which is real, and religions like Islam, like Buddhism, like Hinduism, stuff like that, is that they just say we've sinned and there's no hope unless you do these specific things in order to gain my trust. In order to gain their deity's trust. And I don't know if you've noticed this, Joe, but Christianity is, obviously it's true, but also it's the only faith that says there was nothing you can do to earn God's salvation. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing. You have sinned. You are covered in evil. One more thing I want to mention about... I'm sorry, I'm jumping all around here, But one thing I want to mention about the crucifixion is that, yes, I want to explain kind of how I think God felt, when Jesus was crucified, He was very sad, obviously, the Father. But he also, when he looked at Jesus, he turned away from him. And he saw that he was covered in sin. And that's why, in the Bible, when Jesus was on the cross, he said, my God, why have you forsaken me? Because God, at that moment, at that opportune moment, at that very moment, Jesus specifically had all the sins of the world on him. So you can imagine how appalled God was to see all that sin, being taken upon one person. Every sin of every sin that any person has done in the past, is doing, or is going to do. It's all on Jesus, that one man. So God turned away from that. God's like, that is too much sin. That's way too much. That's way too much. I mean, God can obviously handle it, but he's like, that is a lot of sin.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why he forsaked him in that moment. That is what hell is, by the way. Atheists don't... I'm sorry, dude. Were you going to say something really quick?
Oh, no. It was completely... Well, it's kind of completely off topic, but...
Yeah, still, you can go ahead and say it. What are we thinking?
I was just... It's just kind of funny. It's nothing real serious, but... Jared in the Bible, right? The biblical figure?
Yep.
Well... Jared was the forefather of Noah and his 3 sons.
Ha! Dude! Congratulations! Congratulations, Jared. Congratulations, man.
I don't know. When I read that in the Bible for the first time,
you're like,
my name's in there. I just thought it was so cool.
My name's not in there.
Sorry, Aiden.
I have an Irish name.
Is your name Irish?
Yeah.
Oh.
It means, fiery one, actually.
Fiery one.
But you know what that means, right? Someone who's very active.
Oh, yeah,
which that pertains to me!
That's like your definition right there, Aiden.
My name says it all!
My goodness.
Oh, man. Yeah, but, going back to, serious talk here, but, what would you do, Jared, if you were God and you saw, someone who was completely, you saw your son up there, and you love him to death, but you see that he's covered in every sin, what would you be thinking?
Well, as being the father, I would still love my son no matter what.
Obviously, but that much sin. Which God absolutely hates sin, obviously,
Yeah, so if I was in his shoes, then I would give him up to, to save the rest of mankind, right?
Yep,
so.
Because that's way too much sin on one man. So
I guess, if you look at it...
You would have to forsake him in order to fulfill... Because this is a prophecy. This is something that I mentioned, the find that happened, the find that archaeologists found Isaiah. And Isaiah predicted this years before this even happened. So this was planned. From the very moment that God created the earth, he knew that we were going to rebel. And because of that, he knew that he had to do something, and that something was he has a plan, and that was sending Jesus to die for us. He has a plan, guys. And his plan's not over yet, don't get me wrong. The main thing of it is over, the main part of it. But there was another plan. There was something coming. And this is, we're learning about it right now. You guys might have heard something called Revelation in the Apocalypse. there will be some people that still don't believe. And there is going to come a day when God comes back. And he will righteously judge us according to what we've done. And he will bring cataclysm on this planet. And he will, earthquakes, wars. That's something in Revelation called the Great Tribulation. Which is a period of 7 years, which God basically allows, no pun intended, all hell will break loose.
Yeah.
And it's... and that's for the people who still reject God and just don't, haven't accepted Christ. That they will be trapped here on this planet when this goes down. And if you guys think it's bad now, wait until that comes around, Jen. I mean, what do you think it's gonna be like? Because we won't be here, thank goodness.
Chaos?
Pure chaos. Chaos in its purest form.
But didn't you say that there was a video game that was based on this?
No, not video games, no, but it's been the subject of a lot of culture icon stuff,
Like what?
Like, I don't know, like end of the world stuff, like 2012 and stuff, the whole concept of that,
Would you consider The Walking Dead that?
Don't you remember in season 1 when the character's Herschel said, God talked about this in the Bible, but this is not what I expected it to be like. Remember, he said he talked about the dead rising. I just thought it would be different. Remember in season 1?
Yeah, and then so that could be what God's doing. But
or when on the end of season 1 when that black woman is like, well, the scientist is like, it's, our mess ups just natural, or the lady says, or the wrath of God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for all of you that watch The Walking Dead,
that show's amazing. That show's awesome.
Look at it from that perspective, thinking that, yeah, God's making all those...
The zombies!
All those walkers move around and...
No, but
that's definitely a different way to look at it than what most people would look. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen.
It's very specific. I talk about Revelation. It was in case you guys don't know, is it okay, do we have time with me explaining that book to the best of my ability? Do you have time for this?
Yeah, a little bit here, and then we'll move on to the Weekly Geek Freak.
Okay. Awesome. So basically what this book is that it was a vision that, now there were a lot of visions in the Bible. Isaiah had visions. There was this person Ezekiel. You've heard the book of Ezekiel, haven't you?
Yes.
You? Those are visions. Yeah. But probably the most famous one of them all is the book of Revelation. And the word, now this is so cool because I go to a church where my pastor is actually a scientist. He used to be a rocket engineer for NASA.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I love the way he explains our faith. I love it because it's so awesome. It's so amazing. And he goes into, the history of the word Revelation and all this. And the word Revelation is Greek for apocalyptos. And the word apocalyptos is where we get the word apocalypse from.
Mm.
And it doesn't mean, Revelation doesn't mean, apocalypse or destroy. Revelation means unveiling of. So it was a vision that John had. Now John, I'm not talking about John the disciple, or John the Baptist. It was a John though that followed Jesus, one of the millions of believers, and he was exiled to the island of Patmos. Patmos, I don't know, but
either one.
He was exiled there, and he had a vision given to him by God, which talks about the end of humanity and the end of the world, and basically talks about that, there will be a time when, Satan will come back. Well, he's already here, obviously, but, he'll come back and he will, mark everyone with a, number. You've heard about this shield, obviously, probably, number 666, all that stuff, and,
right.
7 bowls of God's wrath, the 7, seals that he talks about, basically talking about the end of the world, and what needs to happen. This is the end of his plan, right here. This is what I'm talking about when I first said, the plan's not over yet. The prophecy's not over yet. This is why I said that. It's going to end with Revelation. It hasn't happened yet, but it will end with this. And Jesus will come back and he will judge everyone according to what he has done, and there will be cataclysm. There will be death, mourning, a lot of that, here on Earth, at least. And then when that's all said and done, God will destroy the planet. God will destroy the Earth. But In doing so, for the people that still, for the people that are in heaven with him, people that were risen from the dead, and well, everyone is risen from the dead, but for the people that chose to follow him, he creates a new heaven. Not only that, which that's always gotten me. Like, I don't know why it goes into detail with saying he will make a new heaven and a new earth. I've never understood that. Do you want to, I never understood that. Because I thought heaven was,
Well, when you think of heaven, there's so many ways you can look at it, Mm-hmm. Like, there's different heavens you have everyone has a different idea of what heaven looks like.
Yeah.
No one has a for sure knowledge of it. There's even...
Yeah, they're all common beliefs, so, Golden Gates and all that,
Yeah, but, they always say, in the cartoons, there was, a Tom and Jerry cartoon when Tom died, and then he brought up he was up in heaven, and then I guess he got rejected for something he did to Jerry or something, he got sent back down.
Or, the movie Ice Age. I remember when the squirrel was in heaven, he sees all these acorns, and he's like,
That's the same thing,
the Golden Gate literally has a picture of an acorn on it.
And like I said, everyone's depiction of heaven is different.
Scratch, he's a bunch of acorns. But in all seriousness though, I don't know why it says this, because,
what you were asking me about a new planet, right? New home? Or
what'd you say? New Earth. I said,
new Earth,
not asking, but there will be a new heaven and a new Earth,
So
New Earth is obvious, because...
a new Earth means a new Earth is what we're on right now, right?
No, this is the Earth right now. New Earth. This is when everything this is after the 7-year tribulation. This is after when, the apocalypse happens,
Mm-hmm.
When all the unbelievers are, I guess, judged and wiped out, I guess,
So the new Earth is with people that are believers, right?
Not only that, but it is sinless again. It is like it was before, it is like it was in Genesis.
But who's to say that Satan doesn't come back and try to do the same thing?
Because Satan is killed. Satan is defeated.
Right.
Satan is killed. Yeah, Satan is judged and he is killed. He's thrown into the lake of fire. He's judged and gotten God.
Can't wait until that day.
I know, right? Seriously. Also, relating to Satan and hell and stuff like that, I don't know where Jesus was in between the 3 days. That's something I've also thought about. Have you ever thought about this, Jared?
Yeah, what is he doing? Taking a nap, reading a book?
No. What I mean is, in between the 3 days of his crucifixion and his resurrection, where was he?
Oh, gotcha.
Where was he? Because he obviously rose back from the dead.
My apologies, I was confused.
No, dude, it's perfectly fine. It's awesome. It's fine. But I would like to think that he was in hell, fighting Satan. Because remember, sin had completely taken him over. And so over these 3 days, he was battling the devil, battling sin, battling Satan, Yeah,
that's a good thought.
Yeah. Yeah. And then after that, he comes back. Because he conquers death, he conquers sin, and he is resurrected, and then he's brought back to life. That is awesome.
Who really won that fighting match? God did.
Jesus did! Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, But he spared Satan. But also, he is going to die, and I cannot... That's the only funeral I'll be happy for.
That's the only one you don't cry at.
I know, I'm gonna be celebrating, Yeah. Satan's dead, woo! Yeah.
Dancing on his grave.
It says on his grave, Satan's dead. Killed by a beast. Killed by the beast!
By the beast!
God's awesome. Yeah, how people say people are beasts, So, yeah, that's awesome.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's just awesome to know that Satan will be defeated and that, this new earth will be completely sinless. And what's even better is that people that we know here on earth and love to death will also be with us. That'll be amazing too.
And...
yeah, that'll be awesome. You know what? I'll end it on a positive note and say, I can't wait for that. Jared, I can't wait for that. But you have to accept Jesus Christ as your Savior first, most importantly, and know that you've sinned and know that you've, fallen short of the glory of God. And if you do that, if you accept Jesus and say, I've sinned, I believe in you, and do whatever you want with me, and I will be devoted to you. You'll be saved, and you'll be able to experience this with us. Yeah, it'll be the greatest thing ever, to be in the presence of God. And then for Jesus to say, you are my child. After everything we've done. Wow, that'll be awesome.
To think that he can forgive you for, all the sins that you committed.
Yeah, not only that, but all of your... because that's not... obviously, I know that I personally also, you too, Jared, know that sin is not just things we do, but it's things we think.
Yeah.
All our mental sins.
We don't have to, mental sins.
Yeah, it's mental, that's what I call them, but yeah, things you think about, all that'll be forgiven, That's just amazing to think about. That's awesome. Yeah. So I think that pretty much wraps up everything.
Alright, so we're gonna move on to the Weekly Geek Freak.
Woo! Okay. Alright, so first of all.
So on a sadder note, though, it's a kind of a sad part of the Weekly Geek Freak. You want to explain what happened recently?
Yeah, just yesterday, actually. Now, have you ever listened to EDM, Jared? Do you know electronic music?
Yeah, but this person that we're going to be talking about has done things for other artists, too.
Yeah.
That I've heard.
Yep. And he was very influential in EDM. And I'm sure all of you know who I'm talking about. It is the artist, Vici. He's died, people. He's died, guys.
And he died at the age of 28. Such a sad thing to have happen to anybody, especially when they're 28 years old and they had a whole life ahead of them. Our condolences go out to the family.
Yeah. His
family. He's from Sweden, right?
Yep, he's Swedish, yep.
And
the Swedish producer, yep.
I think he was not in Sweden when he died. I'm trying to think when.
No, he was in it started with an O.
Yep. Omen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's exactly right. He was in Omen when he died. He was in a hotel in Omen.
Mm-hmm.
He was just found. Literally, the report says he was literally found dead.
On Friday.
Yeah.
Which was last week.
Yeah. This is yesterday. Today's Saturday, man.
Oh, yeah.
It was yesterday,
but Friday. Wow. It
Yeah.
happened so soon.
Yeah. It's
I
very
forgot.
recent. Yeah, it's very recent. But
Yeah.
he was found dead. And we don't really know why yet, but he had something called acute pancreatitis or something. And it's due to excessive drinking.
Yeah, he had a drinking problem.
Yeah. I think that's most likely what killed him. But it could be something else.
People claim that he did other things other than just drink, like he took other drugs.
Yep.
But he did not confirm that he did. He rejected those claims.
Yeah.
And he said that he did admit that he had a drinking problem.
Yeah.
So that was confirmed for sure, but people don't know whether
Vice publicist
there was
and stuff,
whether there was other things that caused it too. So,
it's sad because he's one of my most fit. He was, still is. First of all, to relate to what we're talking about tonight, I hope he was sent to God, dude, because, I hope you're in heaven, bud. Your music is so influential. The day that he died, I actually listened to one of his songs, actually.
Wow.
I had one of his songs in my headphones, just jamming out to it.
I imagine you do with how much you like EDM, so...
That's sad to me, because I'm an EDM fan, I love that music.
And it seems like every year, recently, we've been having a lot of famous people passing away. Like, over the past, I think it was either 2016 or 2017, we had a lot of, celebrities pass away.
My worst was, obviously, you guys know this, Carrie Fisher. Because it played Princess Leia. That was sad.
It was sudden.
Yeah.
No one knew that.
And then, a couple days after that, her mom died. Remember hearing about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Died from a broken heart. That can actually happen, guys.
Yeah, which, I remember that happening from one of the, people that were captured by the Ariel Castro guy in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. With the 3 girls that went missing, 10 plus years ago. Mm-hmm. And I forget, it was either Amanda Berry, Michelle Knight, or, Yeah, but anyways, it was one of the 3. Her mother passed away from a broken heart.
But they were still alive. Yeah, and wow. Can you imagine, I'm sorry. Can you imagine, we're free, we're out of this, place. And then to find out your mom died.
Yeah, I know, she had no idea that her mom passed away. I don't know, it might have been in the news, but if it was in the news, she might have seen it, if she was able to have access to a TV.
I didn't hear about that. I heard about the situation in general, obviously.
But not whether her mom passed away. Yeah, so that's from what I understand. Her
biological mom, correct?
Yeah, biological mom.
Okay.
Her mom every day was, putting posters up and constantly searching. She never gave up.
In agony too,
Yeah,
because they know what.
And it was she even had she had a previous drinking problem or something like that.
Do you think she might have suffered from PTSD as well? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I mean, she started to actually drink more when she found out about what happened, you know, that her daughter was basically kidnapped or lost, or she didn't know exactly at the time. Nobody knew, but she was stressing out a lot, and it brought up old habits, and she started drinking again. Yeah. Luckily, that wasn't the reason why she passed away. It was just because of broken heart, like, you know, Carrie Fisher.
So. All like in Star Wars when Padme died. Because Anakin became Darth Vader. But yeah, just to lighten the mood a little bit here, you know? Yeah, that's just better Vici, though. It's just,
Yeah, he like I said, he had a whole life ahead of him. But
you choose to drink, and that is a sin. I mean,
not with anything.
Well, okay, it's not as clear cut because, you know, it's just drinking something, but it's putting harmful things in your body. But just God says your body's a temple, you know? You know, take care of it, you know? Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, God says your body's
so
a temple.
So does that mean getting a tattoo is wrong?
No. It's along the lines of put harmful chemicals in your body. You know, like
smoking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you know, doing weed or whatever, what have you, that you put in your body.
LSD, MDMA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So.
Man, that's sad because
he was just nominated for an award, I thought.
3 days ago. 3 days, not 3 days ago. 3 days
3 days previous before he died, yeah.
Think about that.
And I think I saw something about his last tweet on Twitter was, "Thanks for nominating me for this award."
And just a couple of weeks or months before he was on the last tour, and I think a couple weeks before he died, he posted something on his website.
What was that?
Saying that I'm retiring from touring, and I just want you guys to know I'm never stop making music for you guys. I'm dedicated to making music, and I will always be with you guys, and if anything happens to me, I just want you guys to know that I've enjoyed this ride, and, you know,
that's eerie.
That, you know, that I love making music for you guys, and I never stop making quality things for you guys. I don't know if he knew he was gonna die, but, I mean, it wasn't just drinking. He had a whole other mess of health issues as well, which we don't know at this time because they're unveiled.
Yeah, they're being very private about it right now, out of respect with their family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that dies, you don't really want to, you know, talk about it a whole lot because it's really hard.
Because it's even worse for the family because he was famous, you know. So his fans are wondering, how did he die? How did he die? You know.
They want to know right away, but you got to be patient. You got to be patient because you got to remember that even though he's famous,
he's a human being. He has a family.
Yeah, and his fans
probably more than even us fans do.
I mean, his fans are like his family too. They're like an extension to his family.
Yeah, but I mean, he does have an actual family though. You know.
And his actual family is more important than his fans.
Yep.
You know, they demand to know, but they'll know in time. But you got to remember that the family is in mourning right now,
and then they can mourn.
Yeah,
and then us fans can mourn. So yeah, dude, I just want to say if you on him right now, dude, I'm sorry. And you know, dude, your music was so influential. It was, oh man, dude, it was awesome. You know, his music was amazing. And as a fan, I'm truly heartbroken about that. You know, it's just oh man, dude, just to know that your legacy will always be with us, you know, that your music will always be listened to, so, yeah. You did leave an impact,
It'll forever be out there, just...
Yeah. Oh man, and I just pray for the family as well, just for going through this. You know, 28 think about that, 28 years old. Do the math, 28 right now, how many more years? Like...
Well, he just had plenty, he had...
Like 60, something like that, you know, like... 60 doesn't sound like a big number, but in terms of living, that's a lot of time. A lot of time.
Yeah, and there's something I heard, and it's this. It doesn't matter how long you live, but the quality of life that you live.
Yeah.
You know, even if you live 100 years and have a horrible life, you know, you're at home, you're stricken to your bed, you know, because you're too old to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, if you're that old, say you're 95, and you can barely move, you know, why would you want to live anymore? You know, because it's just like you can't enjoy your life.
Well,
And that was something that my grandma was saying. She was saying that she's like, I'm 85 years old, and I go to the mall, and I walk, I speed walk, and do all this, and I I feel good.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoy my life.
Yeah.
But there's people that are my age or even younger that are stricken to their bed and they can't enjoy their life.
And the guy that lives in too called Jocko, and he, you know, he's a retired Navy SEAL. And hey, Jocko, you are awesome. I listen to your podcast every day if you're listening to this. But yeah, he talks about a lot of the reasons people feel that way is because, you know, the reason that they're unhealthy is because they didn't get. He always mentions this term "get after it," you know, which means get stuff done, you know.
Yeah.
And because they didn't make healthy food decisions early in life, or because they smoked, they gave in to weakness, as he calls it. They weren't disciplined. That means that, you know, they're gonna pay for it down the road.
Yeah, I give credit to my grandpa because he was in, you know, in the service. And
well then to his grandma, thank you. And thank you to everyone who served.
Yeah, and he
we can't do enough for you guys, so thank you.
And he actually used to smoke, but he doesn't smoke anymore.
Yep,
he stopped smoking, which is
yeah, he got after it.
which my grandmother, she said, she's like, it was her birthday coming up, and Grandpa's like, what do you want for your birthday? And she's like, I want you to stop smoking.
Oh,
and
wow.
and he's like okay, and he stopped.
That is
like that.
That's kind of emotional too. If I think about it. Wow, that is awesome.
You know, he stopped there and he never went back. Now you hear some people that they stop smoking and then they get in a stressful situation and they start.
That's amazing that you just stopped, because you know how addictive smoking is. Like those
yeah, but
chemicals
he
in
was
your
able
body.
to, he was able to stop. He had that willpower to stop.
Willpower. Yeah, that's awesome. And another thing, on a little, can I go on a rabbit trail hill?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there's willingness smoking. There are these things out now called e-cigs, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And that's supposed to help. But a recent study found that e-cigs are absolutely even more dangerous than the actual cigarette itself.
Yeah,
Do you know that?
And another thing,
because of the oil in there. Like, regular cigarettes don't have a lot of oil, but e-cigs have oil in them, along with everything else. Well, not with everything else, but with oil.
And you want to know something else? If you do e-cigs, or if you do e-cigs, you do it more often than you would, because smoking with a regular cigarette, you have to light it up, and usually you go outside because it's, you know, a lot of smoke and the house gets all nasty and stuff.
Like you can tell if someone smoked because they smell like.
Yeah, and you look at the wall, and say there's people that smoke in the house. You'll see grime on the wall, like, you know, like yuck, because the whole house is covered in it.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, the e-cigs, it's a lot more cleaner.
Yeah, a lot more cleaner, and it doesn't really stick to the walls.
And it smells, but not as bad.
Right.
So you can't tell that, but it still destroys you inside your lungs. That's what Jocko would call weakness. Giving into temptation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, my parents dealt with it. Did you know that?
Wait, with smoking? My age.
Yeah.
They smoked?
Yeah.
But
they gave up. They quit, and they got after it.
Great.
And they always chew this stuff called it's a special, like, kind of nicotine gum. If you know what that is.
I don't think
it has a chemical nicotine in it, but it's not harmful, you know.
But it's to help you slowly get off of it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, and doctors say this all the time, and they say, is it too late to stop smoking? No,
some people say yes. Some people say because of the like, it's never too late.
No, because if you stop, it's good for you. Anytime you stop. If you're 80 some years old and you still smoke,
they say it gives you 20 years for your lungs to clear out.
Yeah, I mean, you're still gonna have that harmful.
At most.
I mean, you're still gonna have those harmful chemicals in your body. Yeah, that like you're still gonna have those effects from smoking all those years.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's gonna be a lot easier for you. You know, to breathe and stuff, because you're actually going to start... You're not putting those harmful chemicals in your body anymore.
What kind of, like, worms if you think about it?
Like what?
Worms.
You mean like tapeworms and...
No, like earthworms.
Oh.
Regenerate. Because our body automatically clears out harmful chemicals.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
and rejuvenates itself. And I think that God put that in us, and that's awesome. That's another score for us, but yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
We're gonna move on to the next part of our weekly Geek Freak topic. A little bit more lighter note than
a lot lighter note.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
This is actually a theory that me and Aiden have, and it's probably a theory that might be already out there, but we
That was
want
a movie called Prima that went into this.
But this is
Fantastic movie, by
something
the
that
way.
we're coming up. We didn't really like refer to anything, you know, like search it
Yeah,
up.
we just thought this up. We think this is genius.
Okay.
So this is.
You want me to go ahead?
Yeah, tell the story about about the country and stuff, about why we thought of this.
Okay, so recent thought is that my girlfriend is in China for a study abroad program, and the time difference there is complete opposite than where we live in Ohio. So say it's 6 a.m. here, it's 6 p.m. there. You know, it's a complete opposite.
Yeah.
And so what if you hop on a plane and you travel back to the U.S. from China? Or from Ohio to China?
Right.
So in that time, you're going to be jumping, in that time zone, you're jumping from a different time zone. And so the time is different when you arrive. So what does that remind you of?
Time travel.
Wow.
Yeah,
you are time traveling.
You know, technically time travel, because you guys probably think we're crazy. But they're all different time zones. They're all different, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it could be even an hour off. Like, if you go to Florida, what is it? Florida is like about an hour off from us?
Yeah, an hour ahead, an hour behind. Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. I think an hour behind.
Yeah, time still changes, though. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to think.
Not only back, but forward, too.
Yeah, you can jump time. You can jump forward in time, too.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, this is insane, because we were talking about, you know, how, you know, his girlfriend is in another country, you know, so what time is it right now there, Joe?
So, say it's 10:30 here, 10 p.m. here, 10:30 p.m. here, it'd be 10:30 a.m. there.
So it is exactly 10 hours back in time that they are right now. So they are technically, you know, time travel. Like, they're technically, you know, because we are going, you guys might call us crazy, but we're going off the premise of what, Jared? We're going off the premise that, you know, that they are hours behind us.
Yeah.
You know, and we're taking the very basic route of the word time travel. It is traveling in time. You know, it is...
Yeah, just don't put a lot of thought into it, like, oh, like, you know, Marty McFly, you know, sort of stuff. We're not talking like that. We're talking...
What I think is Doctor Who, but, I mean... Yeah.
Well, you know, Marty McFly or, you know...
back to DeLorean stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, DeLorean. And
don't think about it like that. Don't think about it in terms of years, because that's what people think of when they think time travel.
Because think about it. You're jumping on a plane. Think of the word time travel. You're traveling in time.
Yeah.
Not in
back to the prehistoric era.
We're not talking years, like prehistoric era, like Aiden said, but we're traveling in time.
A couple hours back.
Yeah. So therefore, time travel is real. So any of those people, boom, just knock down that.
Yeah, and that is crazy, because that maybe opens the doors that the concept that we do think about may be possible.
Like actual regular time travel, right?
Yeah, like
that it may be a possibility.
That is insane, because there's this movie Prima that I watched.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm gonna talk about this movie's amazing, by the way. A lot of people gave it bad rep because their minds are too feeble to comprehend it. So it's basically that they accidentally create this time machine because they want to test electromagnetism to make things, you know, levitate and stuff, so that they can help with like science and stuff. And this movie's genius, by the way. But they end up discovering that this stuff began to grow mold on it, and that it was fungus. Now you're thinking, how the heck does that, you know, display time travel? Well, because it advanced 3 years in a span of just like 20 minutes, you know. So it was allowed to grow, and then they made a bigger box which they could fit humans in.
Right.
But here's the weird. This is why it's real. This is why I got my idea. When you said this, the movies instantly came in mind, because when you go in the box, say you want to go back 6 hours, right?
Right.
In time, you have to spend 6 hours in the box though, in order for you to go back 6 hours.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. So like, let's say it's 10:33 p.m. right now. You want to go back 6 hours, right? And that would be what time? 10:33 would be about, you know, like, I'm not good at math.
Well, either way, you're going to be going, you have to sit in the box for that amount of time.
Yeah, and you come out and it's, a couple hours behind. So basically what happens is that they use that and they abuse that power, and, you know, a bunch of stuff happens. I'm not going to spoil the plot, you watch it. It's one of those movies that you have to rewatch over and over again, you know? But basically, and another thing is that you can, when you go in the box, another copy of the box is made. Because you traveled back in time and you still exit from it. So what they're doing is that they have multiple versions of themselves, like doubles. You ever heard that term, you know? Doubles and stuff. There are multiple doubles in them. There's,
You mean like parallel universe sort of
No!
stuff?
Yeah, like doubles, and they take in the box with them.
Ooh.
When they fold it up and they take it in the box with them when they travel.
Ooh, that's an idea for another podcast. We need to do one about parallel universes.
And time travel. Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome.
We need to have a parallel universe and time travel podcast.
Yeah, so basically they take it in them with them, the box. And then they create infinite more boxes, you know, to travel back in time, and it just becomes a whole mess of time's messed up and everything. So, yeah. So, basically what we're saying is that time travel is possible because, yeah, we still got a lot of time, so yeah. No pun intended.
Well, actually, we are running low on time because we are hitting the 2 hour mark.
Yeah,
the 2 hour mark.
Yeah, but so time travel is possible because, like you said, think about this. Let's look at this from a realistic perspective. Let's give a timeline, I guess, of how this would work. You know, like say that I get on a plane, right? At what time is it right now?
10:35.
Yeah, and I want to, like we said, there's different time zones. So think of a place really quick.
Well, to make it easy, say China. You know, it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, and how many hours do you know exactly is it behind or ahead?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but
well, it's 10:35 a.m.
Yeah.
So it's exactly 12 hours.
Okay.
Right? So you go back in time 12 hours. And that's why things like jet lag exist. When you get back to another... Have you thought about that?
Yeah.
That's the reason why jet lag exists.
You're tired.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it's a different time. So, different time zone.
And plus your whole... Your body is used to eating at certain times of the day.
The circadian rhythm. That's what they call it. The circadian rhythm's completely thrown off. Yeah.
I mean, your whole entire... Because you got an internal clock.
Yeah.
That's why if you go to bed at a certain time every night, and you get up at a certain time every day, your body's going to get used to waking up at that time.
Yep.
Because if I don't set an alarm, I usually wake up at 10 o'clock every morning.
Yeah, that's why on Tuesdays and Fridays when I write a book, I always get up on the dot at 5:50, even when I don't have an alarm.
Jeez,
that's because my mind has gotten used to...
See, my body doesn't...
that pattern repetition.
See, the difference is with my body, I don't want to get up at 5 a.m. My body's like, well, you normally get up at 8 o'clock, but I'm going to wait a couple hours and get up at 10.
Yeah, me, if I, you know, 5:50, I go up and get after it. But yeah. So I'm going to keep using that all the time because that's awesome. But yeah.
And we're going to also keep saying that, oh, wow, that's a good idea for another podcast.
Yeah.
We say that every episode, so that's an overused statement. But you know what? It's true.
Yeah, so, I mean... time travel is possible, so like how would that, before we end tonight, how would that work and how can scientists jump on this theory? How can scientists jump on this concept?
Well, most people think that time travel is, you know, going in a time machine and flying, you know, or not really flying, but traveling to another time period like, you know, the cavemen era, you know,
or 1800s or something like that.
Something like that, a certain era. But, you know, time traveling as in respect to a couple of hours, you know, that's considered time travel, right?
Yeah, it's still... time travel has existed. That's still... yeah, it's
but
still...
just not... I think it's the same... Actually, you know what? They're not separate things. It's the same thing, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah, it's...
because it's
that's what I was gonna correct... I didn't want to correct you because, you know... Yeah, I didn't want to, but yeah, that's what I was about to say, is that, yeah, it is the same thing.
It's the same thing, but on a smaller scale, because it's only by a couple of hours, or, you know, up to 24 hours.
Or maybe in some cases, even, like, if you, that can explain stuff, too, like having false memories. Like, you thinking you did something when you didn't. That can explain that, too.
I think, also...
Wow, that is nuts to think about.
Not to mention that dreams also can play a part in that, because, like, sometimes I'll wake up... it doesn't really have to relate to time travel, but when I wake up, I'm like, wait, did that really happen? And I have to, like, stop and think about it.
Yeah, maybe there's a universe where we can't fly or something. Yeah, but, like... And then that also explains the alien abductions. That's a whole other thing that we can get into, too, like, because of the missing time. You know,
because like I you know, it's something like I'll dream about that is, you know, more realistic.
Yeah,
you know, like me going to school and doing something. You
know, or someone wanting to kill you, and you know it's
because you ever wake up and you're like sweating and because
and literally, some people even reported that they're out of bed when they wake up.
Yeah, because
like
they end up either walking or falling off the bed or something like that.
No people say we're paranoid because no people would say that's sleepwalking, but I mean we think it's a it's a.
I know, but what do you think's going on in your head because of the sleepwalking? Like, there's got to be your brain is doing something. It's trying to do something.
Yeah.
And I used to sleepwalk when I was little.
Yeah.
Because I remember one time I was, I went to bed in my bed like
the whole concept of sleepwalking is just, I don't know why, but it's always scared me. It's just kind of creepy to think about.
Because
I mean, don't you agree that the whole concept of that's kind of weird?
Yeah, I mean, I went to, I got in my bed when I was little, I went to sleep, and I woke up on the couch in the living room. I'm like, why am I on the couch? I didn't go to bed on the couch, did I? I couldn't remember it.
Yeah.
So
this is nuts.
Some people are dangerous, though, because they end up opening doors and actually going on the street. So that's scary, because they can unlock doors when they're asleep.
Yeah.
Their body knows exactly
what to do.
You know what to do, even
and
steps.
maybe in that dream, they're running from someone, they have to go out a school door. Bust that down, the one from, like, a demon or something. But yeah, like, they actually, in the real world, they open... Well, still said real world. But yeah, it's just... So, though, I'll ask again, because I don't think, that... Okay, but what can scientists do, though? Like, how can they study this? How can they study this concept?
I'm not sure. They're just gonna have to start thinking about it, and...
I have a way.
What's that?
Sending stopwatches, getting on a plane, sending on the stopwatches. Like, set on your phone what time you left, and what time you arrive.
Yeah.
And then, like, do you see what I'm trying to get at here?
I think so.
Yeah, so, like, just seeing how much time passed between, like, stuff like, it's... I know we sound crazy, but it's crazy because,
It's a fun concept to think about.
And I think it's real because,
it's more tangible than any other theory that
about
is
time
out
travel,
there.
yeah.
Because anyone can do it. It's not like you need a special machine to do it.
Yeah, we time travel every day. That's insane. Like, it's...
Maybe, yeah, you could even drive in time travel. You don't have to fly.
Wow, that's crazy, though.
Yeah.
Like, even... Wow, this opens up the realm of,
Or if you're really slow, though, you may not really time travel, depending how slow you are. Because, think about it, if you leave at a certain time zone and then get there, you might be at the same time, so you just didn't go anywhere.
Wait a minute. That makes me...
Because
when we go on vacation, we're late for vacation.
So, okay, so, say you leave at 6 p.m., that in your current time zone,
and then you get there at 6
travel.
PM.
You didn't travel anywhere then, right?
Oh man, I did all this for nothing.
Well, in that case, that stupid time travel experiment didn't work. I see some problems in there.
That's messing up the space-time continuum.
I think this machine's broken.
Great Scott. Oh man,
we need a lot more speed to get up to that.
We need to get up to 88 miles an hour.
Yeah, really. You should be going 88, not 25, and then be like, get there.
Oh man, and not get there at the same exact time you left. Well, no. That's still time traveling, actually, now that I think about it. Because that's AM and PM. I mean, well, okay.
No, I'm saying 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. But 6 p.m. in your time zone to 6 p.m. in the other time zone.
Okay.
So therefore, you're not really time traveling.
What am I? I'm distracted, jeez. Yeah, what am I thinking? Yeah. Yeah, so that's interesting. Like, you know what? I'm gonna...
We're gonna do a follow-up with that theory.
Yeah, and you know what? I might do this test myself, actually.
Really?
Like, because my parent... We're going to Universal soon.
Uh-huh.
In Florida. And it's a different time zone, right?
I
believe it is, right?
In California, right? Wait, Universal's where? No, that's in Florida.
Yeah, Orlando. Is it Florida different time zone? Do you remember?
I'm not sure because I know, say in Louisiana or Oklahoma, I know that's a different time zone, but I'm not too sure about.
Yeah,
because my dad, he's in the Bahamas. That's not a different time zone.
And then how do you explain? You know what? No, I'm really gonna test this.
Bahamas is not a different time zone.
On the next New Year's Eve would be a good time for me to test this.
Yeah.
On New Year's Eve. That would be a really good time for us to test this because everyone has the New Year's celebration at different times. Why is that? You know?
Oh yeah, because
that's nuts to think about.
So you're actually looking at different areas.
You're looking at different times.
Oh! You're looking at different parts in time, basically.
That is crazy. That is nuts.
Okay, so we're definitely.
That is crazy to think about. Oh my gosh.
Write this down now because we're gonna be.
Yeah, this is nuts.
Because we got to talk about this in a full podcast with Parallel Universe.
We can see it too. That is nuts.
It's right in front of our eyes. We've been blind this whole time.
Oh my goodness. This is like Keanu discovering the Matrix. Like, oh my gosh.
Now that's a weekly Geek Freak topic.
That is one to end the ages.
Wow.
Like, no pun intended, but yeah, that's one that, wow. That's one that'll stand the test of time.
This is great.
That'll stand the test of time.
Well, yep, so that's pretty much all the time we have for today.
So that's time.
That's all the time we have for today.
Yeah.
We're definitely gonna come back to this.
Yeah, hopefully, this is insane.
Hopefully, instead of just in a weekly Geek Freak, we'll do a full podcast on this.
Yeah.
Along with Parallel Universe, because I think Parallel Universe is something that I've been obsessed with in times past.
Oh, yeah. Like, I've always...
When we were younger, we used to...
We look for wormholes in 5th grade, we used to do something stupid. We used to look for
wormholes in the sky.
And stuff.
It was fun, though.
I mean, to go off of that one more thing before we end the night, is that there all were points of things happening like that. You know, remember that the floating city in China? Those people said they saw a city in, like, the sky and stuff, and they hear, like, machinery above them.
Yeah.
Like Phantom sounds and stuff.
Yeah.
That could be things from Halo Universes.
And this is different things that we'll look at in it, too. We gotta write... This is gonna be taking a lot of extensive
This is
research.
gonna be a big one, too. It's gonna be
a lot of extensive research put into it, because there's no way that we could just come up with this all in our head.
Yeah.
This is things we gotta have info
well, this concept
to back
we did. But, I mean... Joe, tell me if you agree. This is a pretty smart concept if we think about it. This is pretty solid. This is
I think we're going to start with this concept and then go into the rest of it too.
And I might tell this to NASA. I might send this to actual, scientists and see if they... Do you think that they would accept something like this?
Possibly.
Do you think they would at least think about it and give it some thought?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. And not only do we travel in time, but we can see it happen. Like with the whole New Year's Eve thing. That's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
That's we can literally see different times. That's crazy. If you think about it. Yep. So, okay, that concludes this good podcast.
Yep. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. And if you prefer listening to on Apple Podcasts, subscribe on there because you will be notified when we post a new one. It coincides with our YouTube channel. So
yeah, that's awesome because whenever we uploaded it automatically uploads to the channel. That is so much more convenient.
Yeah, so much more convenient. It's accessible right at the get-go instead of, waiting a couple of hours for me to get it on there. Also, I'm sorry you guys haven't been uploading any tracks recently. I've just been, kind of busy with things, but I will get some more music up there, don't worry. Yeah, follow, hit the like button, subscribe to us on any way possible, I guess.
And tell friends. Leave comments. Tell friends. Share it. Share this video if you want. Share this podcast, I mean. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that concludes
the word out there.
week.
Yep. See you, everybody.
See ya.